Look at this massive hoard behind me now. It is absolutely atrocious, isn't it? I mean, look at that mess here. Look, there it is. We can see this amazing background in all its glory. Don't mind the fact that, you know, I kind of look out of place in this background for whatever reason, but, you know, maybe that'll be a little better. There you go. Anyway, blur it up. We don't need to see this massive hoard behind me, because we're going to learn how to clear out all this clutter. All this clutter behind me here, it's not serving me anymore. I have to learn to let go. Let go of all of my hoarding and let go of things that have happened in the past. Because as we just talked about, when it comes to hoarding, you're holding on to things from the past. You're hoarding on to things that are no longer in your life, whether it be a spouse who has passed away, a friendship that is no more, your parents, some sort of abuse that has happened, something along those lines. So you have to be able to clear that all out. So how do you do that? You have to give yourself some space to feel emotions. The problem with hoarding, when you hold on to all this stuff behind you, it's because you have not allowed yourself to feel sad, to feel a sense of grief, and cry and let it all out. You reject your emotions. You push them away and think that you holding on to all this stuff is going to make you feel better. The problem is that if you've dealt with like the passing of someone, some sort of traumatic event, if you're an adult and this happens, it's not going to become a chronic problem unless you make it a chronic problem by not able to let go of the past. If you're a child, it's a bit different. If you've dealt with some sort of traumatic incident that has happened. But if you're an adult and someone has hurt you, you have a death of someone, you no longer have a friendship, these are situational events that happen. And if you're not able to feel emotions and let them go, then that situational depression and sadness is going to turn into something chronic. And it could lead to what we have here. Maybe it may not even be to this extent. It could be something much more minor. Let's say, for example, you lose a spouse who lived with you. Maybe like this person's room right here is filled with all of their stuff and they cannot let it go, and they go in there and remember all these fond times that they had, and it brings them to tears and it's very sad for them, but they're not able to let go. They're not able to let go. It's a very sad thing, isn't it? When you're not able to let go of these things. That's why you have to give yourself some space. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel those negative emotions and let go. Feel them and cry and just let it all go. Let it all out. Next thing you have to do is practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is being in the present moment. Being in the here and now. What is actually happening now? The problem is that we get caught up in our mind of things reminiscing over the past. Things that have happened in the past. Nostalgia even. Thinking about the past. And we get trapped and lost in things that have happened long ago. And we want to hold on to them. We want to hold on to them and we do our best, and we're not able to see what's currently in front of us and what's actually happening now. So learn to practice mindfulness of being in the present moment. What is happening right here and right now? Right this very moment. What is happening? Not something that has happened long ago, or you not thinking about what's going to happen in the future if you have some sort of despair or fear or anxiety of what may happen in the future. You have to be the one to let that all go and be mindful and in the present moment. Find something to occupy your time that you truly enjoy. That's another major, major thing you have to do in order to let go of the past. These are what positive coping mechanisms is what this is. You're finding an activity that you enjoy and you're pursuing that. You're moving on with your life. Because here's what you have to think. If you did have someone close to you who has passed away, wouldn't they want you to be able to move on with your life and be happy on your own? I don't think that they would want you to be holding on to them and not able to move on and crying over something that is no longer there. Whether it be that they're alive or not alive anymore. The fact remains is that you have to be the one to move on from the situation. So find something that'll be occupying your time that is something very positive for you. Something that's very positive, that's a fun activity that you enjoy, being able to do something fun, meeting new people, engaging in positive conversation. All those things are wonderful activities. And another very, very good tip is to disconnect your memories from the object or things that you're hoarding. So for example, we see in the background here all these things. The person who's holding on to all this stuff, they may be able to look at every single item and say, this is the memory of this is the memory of that, that's the memory of that. And they have all these associations that they have formed to these things, which is why they cannot throw them away. They cannot throw them away because they have a very strong emotion and memory attached to these items. Perhaps your deceased husband's favorite food was blank, whatever else. Form a new memory. Let's say your spouse's favorite food was an apple. And it's very hard for you. It's very hard for you to even go into the grocery store because you see an apple there and it reminds you. This is where you incorporate mindfulness. This is where you incorporate letting go so that you no longer have that association. You have made that association where you see something and it triggers a memory that you had, which then triggers sadness, depression, despair, fondness of something that is no longer around. You can still throw away all this stuff and keep positive memories. Why hold on to all of the negative memories? Why hold on to trivial things that are no longer serving you? Let them go and keep some of the positive memories. Remember some of the good times that you had, the positive things that you have done. Remember those, but realize that you don't have to hold on to physical things in order to remember. You have your mind. Your mind is the ultimate, most powerful tool. So as long as you remember some of those positive things, instead of things that are going to bring you sadness and despair, then you can move on past this. You really can. So, in the next segment, I would really like to talk about not specifically what I hoard, so to speak, but things that I am nostalgic over, that I have a fondness of from the past. Because I think this is something that we need to all think about, something that maybe we're still holding on to from the past. So I would like to talk about that in the next segment.